Hello and welcome to another video. So, despite the fact that I really dislike Treasure Dig generally as is, it basically, like I said in the video before, it requires you to commit a lot of time. What I still wanted to do is basically give you the strategies that the community on Discord has come up with to actually get as far as you possibly can in this mode for free. So, if you're committed with the time and you're actually interested in doing this mode, I'm going to just walk you through some of the things that you can do to try and get as far as possible. So, what this basically means that despite the price tag they put on the mode, there's some ways to sort of cheese to a stage where you actually get some good rewards from it, despite the time commitment. So this is for the people that are willing to spend the time and essentially be able to push as far as you possibly can for free by just dedicating a lot of time to it. So what I'll do first is I'll basically show you where I am now within the first. It's been an hour and 35 minutes. I started late on this, about half hour late. And I'm currently at this stage here, so 3 towers unlocked on the fourth one, and sort of making my way to get enough experience to power this tail up to the place where I need him to be for me to be able to then just push past this tower and sort of keep moving. So what I'm going to start with first is here. So this is a page on the tier list. I've shared this before in the description of other videos. I will share it in this one as well. It's a tab that I started, and then I asked someone I know called Eero to essentially help compile this together. So she basically took the pictures, redid these, wrote down the minimum requirements of proof that people have sent of them beating the level. What you have to know when you see this is the fact that the minimum requirement really is just the absolute minimum that we have seen. That would mean that it's maybe a 1 in 500 chance to actually beat the level with that power, but it means that it's feasible at that point to do so. For some of these, you will see it as, oh yeah, I beat it right on it within 5 tries. Fair enough, you just got lucky. So some of these will be the absolute minimum. So keep that in mind. That involves the best crits, the Grigos throwing the right potions, so on and so forth. Like, keep it as a minimum, but know that your character has to be somewhere around there. And if you consistently keep losing in these stages, do think about maybe waiting a little longer, adding 10 more levels to that unit, and then upping that chance a lot higher. So this particular way of doing it basically relies on your Telware to one shot the enemies whenever he ults quite often. So that's this character here, if you just need a picture, as well as Eric being your frontline tank, and these Grigors. Now the Tell is your basically only damage carry, and he does an attack that is within a row, which is why you see different positions for these stages. The Eric is there to basically be your front line. He will stand at the front. He will be able to give enough time for your Tell to ult. And the Grigor's there, which you will see in all of these pictures where you implore 3 of them. They will provide energy for your Tell to be able to do it quicker, or potentially be able to do 2 of his ultimates within the time that Eric is alive. So that's the rundown of how this really works. So what I'm going to do now, in case you are only going to look at this video, is sort of run you through the compositions and the requirements for each tower. So you can come back to the video, take a look at the pictures, as well as take a look at the level requirement, and sort of proceed. So we'll start first. Number 1, the first tower basically has no requirement. It's the first tower you do. Level up 1 character, which will be Eric at the time, most likely. 2, basically level 20, and you'll be able to win the match. Tower 2 as well is basically just a complete wash. You just need a character, which is why the levels here in the picture are not sort of accurate. You just need to take your characters, re-roll them. What I mean by this is you essentially go to your heroes. You would go ahead and make, for example, this Grigor using 2 copies, power him up, and then you would reset them here, and that will give you back the fragments, which can be anything. So you can then go to your fragments and actually just redeem it again. So you can keep doing that over and over until you do get the requirements, for example here of an 8-star Tell. Obviously you can just wait a little bit longer. It's not a big rush, and you will easily get past this. Some of these levels will also have requirements for you to clear the floor, and what that means here is this treasure hunt. So floor 8, for example, at the moment, you basically need to some extent to be able to be strong enough to make heroes of these copies in rarity star level, sorry, you will need to clear those stages. So number 2 is this setup here. Number 3 is where it will actually begin to be a bit more difficult, I'd say, where you're looking to have a level 60 Tell at 9 star and an Eric at 7. The Grigors can pretty much be 5 star with no levels till probably about 5, I'd say. You're fine with doing that. They'll just be there still to give their potion. So here's the sort of freeze frame for this. So if you want to see floor 6 passed with the requirement, if you're not going to pass floor 6, you're gonna want to have a a bit of a stronger tell. The 63 is what they're referring to. So you just need a bit more levels. Then finally, when you get to 4, you're looking at this setup here. I'm not gonna talk through it entirely. They also provided this with, you can do it with a stronger tell without having as many Grigors, for example. Alternative sort of comps, and I'll quickly maximize this so you can see how that looks. Now moving on, 5 is like this. So as you'll notice with a lot of these, it's Eric somewhere in the front, or both of them tanking the Tell and the Eric, and the Grigors are sort of hidden. The only time that that's not the case is the comp here at 8, but I'll get to that in a moment. So 6 and 7, talking about using the same sort of composition, so same as 6 and 7. So it is quite simply, you got your damage carry, you got your tank, and then you just got your Grigor sort of hidden on the side to just keep providing what they provide, because they generally will be one shot. Tower 7 is pretty much like this. Pay attention, it's 140, 12 star tell. The extra stars above 11 give you a very small percentage, so it means that if you don't get yourself your 12 or 13 or 14 star, if you will then have a requirement to have a higher level tell, so maybe going to 150, maybe 145, so it will just take a bit longer. Then you continue here. You got 8, which is going to be pretty much your last stage as a free-to-play player. Not pretty much guaranteed. So this will basically have the requirement of having a 170 tell, who is going to be a 16 star. You can, like I said before, you can keep resetting your units, so you essentially start them up, star reset for the ones you don't need, until you get the copies to power up your tell or your Eric to the required star level. So tell you only need Eric, sorry, you only need 4. For tell you need a whole lot more, basically, than as much as possible. And then there's multiple sort of ways of doing this. It really depends on sort of the power of your units, or essentially these were the minimum provided in pictures, and these were the setups that they used. So do it as you are. And there's also some tips here on 8, because it is the most frustrating stage. Generally up to 8 you can sort of have a nap in the middle, 8 hours, come back, clear it. It's quite simple. And 9 is basically minimum requirement of money, because it's not feasible to beat it without paying money in the game. Now this setup is going to get you to a decent stage in the sort of reward list. So if we were to refer to this down here, you're going to be looking to get probably just onto the fragments. I think the fragments is the maximum you can really get, and then if you do it quick enough and progress much further than whatever, or you pay a couple dollars, you will look into then get the 20 T, which is trillion. You're probably going to end about 12 T using this, but it is way further than you will get by just playing normally. I did my test a couple weeks ago where I played it rather normally, barely logging on, and I finished at this stage here. So this is something that you got to remember. And if I was to judge it off of what I did before, this is the only way to really get further into through the rewards than the game actually intends you to. So yeah, now let's move on to a couple of the pictures for the Gatekeepers. So these are units that are not bosses, but they are essentially holding you from going to the next area. Here's some pictures. You're welcome to just obviously take a look. For this one, this is the enlarged version of that. Then you also have this one here for Carlin. So this setup, this is the way to beat it. There's no minimum requirements. It's basically saying this is the setup. Roughly, if you got through the previous stage and spent a little bit of time powering up your units, you should be okay. Here's the Terrence composition. Here's the Beal and Barley. So this setup. Here you go. And then you got Ragnar Edward Frode right here. Pause these. as I said before, sort of seeing how these work. So double Yulv, Frode. You'll be familiar with these as you are sort of as you're playing. This is this one. This is this one for the Renaud Isla-Brook. The Sota double Cellier. This is just right before Tower 8. And there's the Edward one. More Tower 8, Tower 8, just out of Tower 8. Some of these you will have to do to get strong enough to do it as fast as possible, but you can also wait. That sort of runs down the setups for these levels. Again, I'm going to include this in the description. Do go and check. It's in the treasure dig tab. You can take a look at it at your own pace, or you can pause the video when you see something that you're looking for. I can't spend too much on this. I don't want it to be too long. Essentially, I'm going to be trying this. I tried it last one. I did where I said I got to where I wanted to get to. That was fine. I'm still not a fan of the mode. Don't take this video as me saying I like it. I do not. But it is what it is. So if you have some time, you can just go ahead and press things. This setup, as I just said, is completely free. You don't have to spend a penny on it. But if you're going to spend anything, I think the recommendation is to get some shovels. But don't ask me because I'm not the one spending on this. I hope that helped. And look out for the next video, which is actually going to be a big summon video with 500 seeds, a lot of books, a lot of fragments, again from Pusher. So that will be coming in the next couple of days. But for now, hopefully this helped you have a better idea on how to get as far as you can in this mode. Take care, have a good weekend, bye bye.